So I want us to have a discussion around persistence. That's what I want us to discuss, the question of persistent storage of data. That's what I want us to look at. So, and remember, the best thing about it is that we have done a bit of this work. So practically that is, so what I'm presenting here are just ideas that you will find really comfortable. You will be very comfortable with. So the Android storage options that exist, we have shown how you can use shared preference. We have also worked with the files, and we are working with in our today's lecture. That is our focus, SQLite database. Now, and there is an issue about how you choose between any of them. Also, there is another storage that is not included here, I would say number 4, which is related to cloud storage. Cloud storage. So that is something that is not part of what I've included. So we'll make you aware of some advanced data storage options. Content providers, cache, data synchronization, and backup API. So that is so important for us to understand around there. So these are the, now here it is. So somewhere in the network, cloud or server, this is what you have with things like Firebase or such. So there are internal storage, external, and all that, and then there's shared preferences. So how do you choose which one to use? The amount of data, yani, the size, the frequency of access, whether you want a read-only or an update, the type of data to be stored. Are they images or text, right? So that is also very important. And whether that data needs to be shared between applications, one application sharing with the other. Does that need to be done? So we did the shared preference. These are just a review. And we showed an example of key value pairs. So we said that the purpose is to store user preferences for an application or activity. So like the difficulty of the game, some shared, some examples like what you would have as preference for the character. So the key must always be a string. The value can be of any type. And in the example that we had done last time, the one that we demonstrated with, I believe that we showed that example through that idea. So we showed that through that example. So it should be possible to see how that works. And we say data will persist across user session, even if the application is killed by user or laptop system. So even restarted. So we had done the shared preference. We created an XML file. We used editor, shared preference editor. This is another example of the way you can implement it. And I felt like the example we did in class was more easy to understand, considering the way it was structured. So I think that is the reason why I felt like that was a good example of shared preference use. And that's why our approach, if you look at that example that I gave you, we were using a different approach by use of the editor to save data to the shared preference. And an application activity can have more than one set of named preference to be shared. So we demonstrated that it is possible to have an application that stores data in a number of shared preference. You can have that. So the shared preference object provides access to the editor that helps you in storage of the data. So that one we did, and that one I believe you are comfortable with. So of course there are questions around when should you use shared preference, like the amount of data to be stored. Of course, you can see that not a lot. Frequency of access can be so many times. Types of access required, even update is perfect. It's easy. Type of data to be stored, we did say that mostly binary, text, and such are better for that. And whether data needs sharing between applications, we said that is not possible to share between them. So we talked of files. Here I think for this example, we didn't implement a classic example of how to store internally or externally on an SD card, though I had talked about this. Did I? No, internally we did. Actually, internally we did. In the one of the example, we did internally. What I think I have not done is is that correct? Is that assertion true that we did one that was trying to store internally in a file, and we also demonstrated how to get it?
Yes.
Yeah. So now thank you so much. So that I think we did, and therefore so that is the one I want to start with. Just 1 minute, please. That is the discussion, sorry, not the one I want to start with. This is the discussion I'm presenting here. So what I'm saying is that we did the one for internal. I think the one we have not done is where we store data in an SD card. So that's okay. So if you are storing data, there is the file output stream. There is where you write the data and then you close the file, and reading from it from an internal file input stream. You read the data and then you close the file. So that shows that example. I think that was a classical example of that. So the other one was external. So if time allows, I'll also demonstrate that using an SD card. That it includes other methods or classes. Classes would be contained so that on the SD card, you can check whether it is available, and also you have the ability to specify which folder it is in. So that is also a possibility to using that. Those are questions still you would ask, the amount of data. For example, you can store a lot in an SD card, a lot, and such. Frequency of access can be a lot, read only or update, you can do that. Type of data to be stored. So you need to be careful when it comes to update, because this is an external storage, so be alert to that. And then now we went to SQLite. This is what I want us to have a discussion around, and then we will go ahead. I don't know why my app says it is failing. I don't know, it says the memory something. Oh, yeah. So let me do that. Let me restart it as I discuss this section. Okay, so the SQLite So the SQLite, as you I believe now you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was saying is that if you look at this portion
Yes.
of SQLite, it works the same way as relational databases do work. So it's a popular embedded database, and it is not just for Android and not just for Java. It is implemented in many other applications. So what you will find is that it implements what you will get in SQLite, things like create table, things like drop, all those statements are taken care of. The best thing about it is not heavy. It doesn't take a lot of space. It's very fast, and it's open source. So the group that has been involved in its development are such, Oracle, Nokia, for various reasons that they use them. This is the homepage, so you can visit www.sqlite.org for you to be able to see that. So SQLite uses a director of SQL. That's why I'm not worried that you people, you have already done that. So it should be easy to see how that works. So that is very okay. Differences that it has with full database. So if you compare this with, for example, Microsoft SQLite or even MySQL, there are some differences. And one of them is data typing. So it is weak data typing. It doesn't enforce the issue it doesn't enforce the issue of, for example, that the way data type specification is done should strictly be like that. Some standard SQL features are not supported, like no write outer join, no stored procedures, which of course I believe that you have seen. When it comes to locking for concurrency control, it locks the entire database. So SQLite API in Android, this is the way you do it. Some key classes and methods that you implement. So this is the database. So you have the SQLite database that can execute all these codes. Execute SQL, delete, insert, update query, row query, and so on. So, and this is now where you create your database helper class. So helper class will inherit from that one, so that it will implement the methods on create, on an upgrade. Not, it will have an association, sorry, this is association. So then you will have SQLite helper. So here is the idea. This has an association with SQLite database. So when you implement the SQLite open helper, it either implements get readable database or get readable writable database. So you are now a class will inherit from it. That's the idea. So and then you can have several applications. So the idea is that part of the database that is accessing the content that is accessing the database is put in one class or something like that. So and then you can also use SQLite query builder, which is of course what you have as running several, that if you have a lot of high intense data set that requires a lot of database access. So how do you create it? This is a process. Number one, you must extend SQLite open helper. First step, you must extend that. Step two is that you must also create a constructor that tells the superclass that your database has the name of the database and also the version. Then you also must override the onCreate, which will execute the SQLite to create the database. And then also onUpgrade. You will have to override it so that you can execute SQLite to recreate the database if the database has changed. I mean, if it has been updated or that, then that's how you get that happening. So this is an example of how we can implement it. If you look at the way the code is that we have onCreate and we have onUpgrade. So just like you have said, you must be able to create them. So onCreate specifies the database the first time you are building it. This one is meant for upgrading. And if the database already exists, then it was dropped. So that is the way it does. So we will see how you create an object and then you can be able to use it. This is a super for the database name, null, and the version. And then you get it as a writable database. So I think the best thing now is for us to talk about its implementation so that then I think you can see how that works. So that is what I want to do. And I want to go to the practical part. So around me 1 minute as my machine starts off. So I want us to, the form input that we had is the one that we are going to now add functionality for it to be able to store data. So that's why I'm telling you, you open it. Mine is opening, but it has some, I need to rebuild it again because it has some Android errors that my Android has an error. So I'm restarting it. And so give me a few minutes, I should be able to do that.
So still starting it. It has an error, so that's what I'm correcting. Be patient a bit. So still solving that problem. 1 minute, please. I should be up. Still solving a bigger problem with the system. So give me a few minutes, please. So the example you said, we call it form input example, right?
Yes.
Okay. Form input example. Okay. So our main had had we started the issue of storing data into it? Sure.
Sorry, sir.
Had we started showing how to store data? What was the last thing that we did on that example?
The last thing which we were doing was of the spinner,
Mhm.
which was not showing when we run it.
And then we were able to solve that problem.
That was what we were doing last time, but it was
Okay.
not being able to show yet.
What do you mean? We were able to do it, the spinner one?
So no,
Yes,
some of us were still crashing.
Like
The
for me,
Mhm.
when we run it,
Mhm.
the drop down is showing, but on the
Mhm.
drop down, you know, the name which comes like full-time, part-time student, that is
Mhm.
not showing.
Mhm.
Should I share my screen and show it to you, or?
Just 1 minute, just 1 minute. I know, I understand what you're saying. I just want to show you what you're asking so that I. Mhm. Today my Android has just updated and it has become chaotic. So that's why you can see I'm actually taking a bit of time because it's like I've updated it and now it is no longer working with the Nini. So I need to restart it again and check what the problem is.
So I want to check that. So that is the error that I'm getting. I believe that it's saying something to do with my. There is a problem with the connection, but we can still go ahead. Now, so the first thing that I said is that if you go to your database input helper, I needed you to change so that the data that you are reading, the one that you are supposed to populate into a string. So after you had defined it like this is the definition of the array. And now you had this one here. This is where now we adopt or tie. We tie the string with what is in the spinner status. So do you have this code?
Yes.
And now here, so this code, you don't have it for now. And we needed to say if not agree with the terms is checked, then we had sorry, you must agree with the terms. I think.
So we have not even done that one.
Okay. So then, let me see. The project that you're saying, you people have called it which name? It has called it. We called it. Did I call it form input?
So for me, it's called form input example.
Hello, sir.
Mm-hmm.
The error you were getting, I got the same error, but I fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
You know that line has been underlined.
Line number? You're talking about which one?
If you just go over to your code for 1 second.
This one.
Scroll down. Yes, this one.
Mm-hmm.
So mine was giving the same thing. It was not allowing me to. It was giving an error. So I managed to fix it just by retyping it.
This code has no, this, you see this ID, this program has no error. This is a program with the IDE. My code had no error. So
Okay.
my code is actually working. It's only that I think and this is the madness of this IDE, because a few minutes ago it was running. This is a problem I've been trying to fix now, because I assume that the problem could be something related to, otherwise it's not like I'm sure
Dr.
like
Lawrence.
now. Yes.
What if you try to reload all from disk when you go to the file option?
Wrote all from the disk. So I wrote all the projects that are there.
Yeah.
Like now my ID has crashed. So that's why I'm telling you it's not a problem with my Nini. So I think what we'll do is that we will use one example for somebody whom it's working, because mine, as I solve that problem, so that we don't waste all the whole time. So what I would suggest is that can we have the share sharing your screen possible?
Okay, let me share.
Nice. So you are saying that your error is which one?
So I don't have any error. Like when I run it, let me show. So this one, so you can see. So you can see my emulator. Hello, sir.
I can see you. Go ahead. You are saying that? Sure. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, I can hear you.
So you're saying that?
So you can see my emulator.
Yes.
Yeah. So on this there is a drop down here, so we can't see on the drop down like.
Let me
what
see
we
your.
like.
Let me see your string definition.
Screen definition. Is it the code?
The code. Now let's go to the code. Yes.
Yeah, I've shared.
So I want to see your definition of the string. Can you go to the spinner underscore list underscore item, that file?
Yeah.
Text color is white, white on a white background. Can you see anything?
Yes, I can see it now.
Yeah, so that was the color issue. So if you look at, so anybody else with another problem that you're seeing? Because what I now want us to do is, I want you to go to your data input.java. And you see, just go down. You see down, yeah, so our app gives you an option to select an item. Can you go to the app itself?
The emulator?
Yes.
Yeah, I've shared.
So if you look at what you want is a user enters the detail, the final, what you want in this product is that when a user enters the name, select the date of birth, email, and then clicks next. So it should be such that it doesn't go to the next until the user has agreed to the terms and conditions. So I want you to go to your design, the layout design. Yeah, the layout for main. And then you go to the design and you add, that's okay. So between the spinner and the button, I want you to add a checkbox. So we want it to be such that now the user will have to agree to the conditions on the checkbox before they proceed to the next step. And so we want to give properties for the checkbox, and I would like you to do the following. So on the properties or attributes, of that control, I want you to add it as a, let us make it a CHK. For the purpose of uniformity, we just write it as CHK. In other words, that stands for the checkbox. Let us stick to the use of small letters. One minute, please. 1 minute, please. So on the chart, I'm writing the name that I want you to have. So use it as use the name small letter CHK, agree terms. So call that the name that I've shared on the chart. As the ID. Then I want you to go under the text property, below where there is a text property, below scroll, there. And then under text on the ellipses that is at the end at the corner there, you click that, and then you go to new string value. So on what we are going to program, I want you to give it agree underscore terms prompt. That is the name. And then the text that should appear, do you agree with terms and conditions? Then, so that is very okay. So that tells you that you have the part that I want. Now, so what we want is a user must agree with the terms before they can be moved to the next. So I want you to go now to the data input, and specifically you go to the display alert next. Data input to the .java one. Yeah. So here, what we need is, you see where you have the code that is supposed to read the whole of that code, edit from the beginning, edit name, text, and all that. We want that code to be executed as long as one has typed the codation. So at that point where the cursor is, I want you to type, you first must get a reference to your checkbox. So you say checkbox. No, checkbox is the whole name, checkbox, write it in capital, C is capital. Yeah, that one, checkbox, then we can call it the name as agree terms input. Agree terms input equals to find view by ID. Then you pick that control, you pick that. Then, so what you want now is that below that code you have just written, agree terms, we have an if condition. So you say if into bracket, now we will have the into bracket. So we want that condition to be checked that it is, you have entered the right details, that you have typed the correct thing in that case. So what I expect is that you will have the statement that says exclamation, so exclamation mark, because agree, so you say agree terms input, agree terms input dot is checked. So if it is not checked, that's what we are saying. If that option, these are methods, so brackets again, round brackets, yeah. Then enter now the body of the if statement. So come out of that, checked, and then go to the last item. Sure, I'm saying you now have the body of the method, the body of the if, sorry. No, not there. Not there. Not there. Remove what you've just added. Outside, yeah, then enter. Then now the body, yes. So what we want is that we want that to be checked. So we call the pop-up toast. And there into quotes, and we can have, sorry, you must agree with the terms, even though you don't know what they are. You must agree with the terms, even though you do not know what they are. So then enter. So no, you are still in that method. So there, we now want it to be such that if a user has to be forced to enter that, so then it returns, it's supposed to return. Just write return. Semicolon. So what will happen is that if you run it now, can you experiment with your run it now?
You can also see my emulator, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I've just run it. It will like take time a bit.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Can you just show the part where you went to the ellipse for the text of the checkbox,
Where you went?
where you altered the string value for the text for the checkbox?
So I went to the main.xml. I went to the design part.
Yes.
Then I clicked on the checkbox. Then you click on the ellipsis part for the text.
Yes.
Then you click on plus. Then you click on string value.
Okay. And
Then once you click on string value, over here you write agree underscore terms underscore prompt, and then on the
okay.
value you
Just
write.
1 second. Let me just do that. Yeah.
Okay, the codes are in the chat. The whatever you have to write, so you can just like use that.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you run it now and you type next, you see you must have to agree with the terms, right?
Yes. Yes.
You must click that, and now it can give you that. That's what I wanted you to check first. Now, that is okay. The next portion for us is that we want to add data capability for it to store data. This is in SQLite. So, and therefore, we need to create a database helper, like I said. So what I want you to go to your folder project.
So can you just wait 1 second?
Okay.
Yes, hello, sir.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving one error.
Mm-hmm.
The agree terms input is underlined.
May I see it?
Yes, let me just show it to you.
Mohsin, have you typed like everything over here? What is like I've written?
Okay, I think I found it. It's a semicolon is missing. Yes. Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, you may continue. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Higher. So I was saying, at the root where your cursor is, I want you to right click and then new activity. Activity, and empty one. Nice. So that activity that you have said will be called the database helper. So I'm writing that name on the chat for everybody to have the correct one. So we want to call it data base helper. Database helper, H-E-L-P, yeah, database helper. Now, once you call it database helper, there is the other thing about layout. So this is
Sorry. Sir?
so I was saying, you see that phrase that says generate layout file and select that. Nice. And then you can say finish. Now, so where it says extend, yeah, I want us to extend SQLite open helper, the one that is you have there. That's the one that I want us to extend. And then open helper. So it is underlining because we will need to inherit. That's why it is overriding. It's underlining, which is good. Then press enter. Now let's go to the next line.
Where?
Just enter at the end of that bracket. Now enter inside the body of the, there. So what we want is that we want to declare a variable, one that will store the name of the database. So private static final string database underscore name. That is the way we label the convention for naming Nini constant is that we use capital letters.
So I write database in capital letters.
In capital letters.
Database.
I've shared it still on the Nini. Is database name as it is there. Now, the next thing is that we need to give our database a name. So this will be private SQLite database. Then we have database. Semicolon, of course, and then. Now, we have said from the discussion, we need a constructor. So the constructor will be public. Still just have there, public database helper. Then into bracket, context. context. Context C is capital because C is the name of the type. I've written it on the chart. And then you enter you go to the bracket. No, you don't put the in the bracket. No, I'm saying outside. Once you get outside there, you put the curly brackets now for the body. The body of that, yes, go inside the body. So we now need to call the super constructor. So super into bracket, context, then comma, database name, the database, the way you have written capital. Database name is capital, everything is capital. Yeah, database name, comma. Then null, that is the factor name null. Null is n is small. Then comma, then the version is 1. And then semicolon, of course, and then another statement below that. So we now want to get the database as a writable database. So database is equals to get writable database. Get writable database. The next one, not readable, writable. Want to write semicolon. So that is the constructor. Come out of the constructor now. So out of the constructor, then we have public void. Now the method that we need to inherit on create. So on create. Now, of course, bracket. It's just like the what you have below. In fact, yeah, delete the one that is below the written override. Delete that statement and the override also. Not the bracket. You have deleted one bracket that is necessary. One square curly bracket. So you just delete. Yeah, that's okay. So then there's a lot of space which is unnecessary between on create and that space. I don't know why. Should be like the way I've written it. Okay, now then we go inside that bracket. We need to specify the object. On create, O is small. Then inside, yeah, on create. Then inside that bracket there, yes, you need to say SQLite DB. SQLite database, correct? Then the name DB now, we have a dummy object called DB. So write DB. And then come out of that, and then you have the body. Nice, now in the body, what we need is to execute an SQL code. So you say db.execute SQL, db dot, that's okay. Then into bracket. Now we write we need to implement to write the SQL code. So we write it in quotes, double quotes. And now inside we say create, write it in capital. Create table. The table is called details. Details is small, sorry. Then into bracket. No, just yeah, there. So that the table details will have a column underscore ID. Underscore. No. You start with underscore ID is capital. No, it's okay. It's okay the way it is. It's okay. It's okay the way it is. ID small. Comma. Actually, not comma. Type of data is integer, space. Integer, capital. Capital. Space. Primary key is a primary key. Space is auto increment. Comma. After auto increment is comma. No, auto increment does not have underscore. It's one word, not underscore. Auto increment. Then name. Name now is small letter. So we will have ID is a primary key. Then we have name. No, don't put the bracket there. You put a bracket there.
No, it came by default.
No, we don't need that last bracket. The one that, yeah. Then outside that quote plus. So into quotes again. We have text capital TXT. Comma, write it correctly. Then DOB. DOB is small. Space, which is TXT capital.
TXT or text.
Text, yes. TE. Yeah, text, comma. You also have email. Which is also text. Then now, there's a bracket that you need to close now. After that TXT, close the bracket first. And then semicolon. Semicolon just after that, no, after the bracket. Not full colon, semicolon. And then at the end now, another semicolon. Come out of that, like that. And then that is supposed to be the only create one. Then we go to the one for, come out of that now, out of that hot create method, you create another method, public void. Public is small. Public void on upgrade. On upgrade into bracket SQLite database. DB, comma, int is small, int space old version, space, correct, int new version. Now the body, go to the body of the function. So what we want here is that if the database already exists, we want it dropped. Maybe somebody has changed it. So we put a log there, log, L is capital, log dot W, so that a warning is given. So we want this,
In quote.
This is the T cannot be capital. That's a keyword. Not this is. I just saying this and then comma dot. Sorry, dot. Get the database. Get the class. Get the class. Sorry, get the class. And then dot. Get name. Then comma. So we have we have the capital database underscore name. You're getting that. Plus into quotes. Database upgrade. Small letter. Database upgrade to version. Space, then plus, come out of the quote. Now I'm saying plus should be outside the quote. That's okay. You needed some space between the N and the quotes. Plus, now we need to have a new version. And then plus into quotes, add some space, tab space, old version, old data lost. And then come out of that and put a semicolon. So that is telling you a warning that the database has been upgraded from this, and therefore the old data is lost. So now we execute an SQL. So you're still inside that. So you say db dot execute SQL into bracket, then into quotes. Now we have the SQL code to drop the table. So we say drop. Remember, this is in capital. Everything is capital now. Drop table. Drop space table. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I drop a table if exists.
If.
Yeah, if exists. Exists, S, there's an S at the end. Exists, there's an S at the end. Exists, yes, like that. Details, details is small because that's the name of the database. Then come out of that, out at the end of the linear and press enter. So what we want now is the table will be dropped and we call the onCreate. So just say onCreate into quotes, into bracket, sorry, into bracket. DB, then semicolon. Nice, so that one now does the housekeeping for us. So now we want to insert the details. So on the data. So come out of that method and therefore you create another method, public, wrong, L-O-N-G. The data type is wrong. Insert details. One word, no underscore, just use insert capital D because it's the name of the method. So we use comma case. Insert detail into bracket. We have string name. String S is capital. comma, string DOB, comma, string email. I come out of that and have the body. So now we create a variable of content values. So you use content values, like I have written it on the chart. So content values, row values, equals to new content values, semicolon. No. Yeah. And then semicolon, enter. So now we have a variable called row values that we can use to enter values. So row values dot put into brackets, into quotes. First one is name, comma, name. As I have done it, not the way you are doing it, as I've done it, name, quote, name is the one that is the name of the variable. Yeah, and then, so that is the name. Then we go to the next one, which is supposed to be the date of birth. So row values dot put into bracket, into quotes. We have DOB, then comma, DOB. Yeah, then do that other one for the email. Now, this statement should return the row. So return database dot insert details dot insert or throw. Into bracket, quotes. The name of our table is details, comma, at the end. No, comma, null, comma, and then row values. Then get out of that quotes, semicolon. So what we have done so far is that the app now should allow you to enter, it should allow you to enter the details now and save them. And then we wanted to populate the database. So it should be able to insert the details as you have highlighted. So put those values into the database. But if you can see, we have not called it anywhere. And neither have we created an object of it. So that's what we want to do. So I want you now to go to the data input one. Are you there?
Yes.
So on the data input one, so at the point where we have the what? At the point where we have you see the method on create at near the end of the last bracket. Yeah, so yeah, then I want you to create an object of that type. So we can call it, the name of that file we have created is database helper. The name of that class is database helper. So you type database helper. Database helper. Higher, then that database helper, we call that object, we give that object a name. We can call it, no, I just wanted, in fact, we can just say, remove that database helper and just say helper is equals to. Now we need to define this helper. This is a problem. So go at the top there and have this code just at the class level. At the class level, let us declare this variable. So I want it to be, you see where you have, there, that's okay. Yeah, there, correct. So the DB helper, semicolon, is an object of type database helper. Now that is the helper that I'm saying DB helper. Now we need to invoke them. We need to call the constructor for it, the constructor for that object, so that can be invoked. So to call the constructor, what you just need to do is add that DB helper is equals to new database helper. This, I'll put it also on the chat. Okay. So what we have now, we have an object that is of that type, that is of the type that we want. So our next step now sorry, is to make sure that we also change the code so that the details are same. Sorry. So it's a bit of code. So I want to share my screen so that you can be able to implement that now on my screen, what I've said. So let me share my screen so that you can see this part. Now we have the code for that. So let me share the screen. How many people are together with Shah?
Yes, hello, Sam, there.
You are there, okay, okay.
So I stopped sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have one error.
At which point we'll look at it. We'll look at it, right? We'll look at that error and see. Now, so if you remember the code that we had written, we had gone up to this. Now we had gone up to set neutral button. So I want you to add another one, dot set positive button, and you say save. So you see the code that is on the Arat dialog builder. So I want you to go there and say dot set positive button, save. This way, this part, I need you, this part we do not have it. So this is the part I want you to implement. And the show that was here now, that had dot show, now it's here. So we need our button to have more.
Okay.
Sir, can you repeat what you've said?
Mhm. This
Can
is
you
a code that this is a code that you need to add, this one. On the one that we had last time had alert details entered, and then it had details saved. Now we want to add more button to it. Okay. Now, I know you have an error because of this method.
Yes.
So, and that error, that method takes in the name, the date of birth, and the email. That's what it takes. So what I need you now to do is that we now need to implement this method. So come out of that method, the on create one, the display next alert, sorry. And now we have another method that is supposed to save the details. So you are supposed to implement this method now to save the details.
Can you just wait for 1 second?
Okay.
Yeah, just keep it there 1 second.
Are you done?
Yes, sir, you can continue.
Okay.
Hello, sir, are we typing this?
Yes, that's what I said. We are now implementing the method save details that
Okay.
is supposed to take in the name, the date of birth, and the email. And then we are using a try catch statement. So in the try, the object we created DB helper.insert details. Insert detail is what we have defined in our method database helper. So name, DOB, and email. Then it's supposed to tell you details have been saved. And then in case there is an exception, it should throw this. So that's why I'm saying you should type it.
Exactly which block is it? Outside
What-
which?
This is from whatever you don't have from here.
Okay.
Sir, scroll down a bit.
Are the others done?
Yeah, you
The
can
other
see them.
guys almost
Not yet.
okay. Down a bit.
Yes. Sir,
Hmm.
I have a question.
Hmm.
Like on line 154,
Mhm.
it's written persist one dot this. Now what?
No, here. You write the name is data input dot this.
Okay.
So change this persist to be data input dot this.
Okay. And then on line 139, I am getting an error.
Are you there?
On line 139 of yours, I'm getting an error.
What type of error?
The name, the DOB, and the email is red.
How have you defined them here? Are they the same as here?
Okay. Okay, it's okay now. Sir, done.
So what you will notice is that what we are trying to do here is that we are calling the method insert details, the one that we wrote in the database helper, with the name, date of birth, and email, so that once it is called and saves the details, then the dialog builder that contains the, remember this is supposed to be the data input dot this, then it gives you the title, set title, details have been saved, and then you have that. So if there is an error saving the details on the cache, sorry, then error saving details, and this is supposed to be data input dot this. Couldn't save the details, then you have next, that is the title. So if this part of your code is complete and working, you can run the code now.
Sir,
Mhm.
I run to the emulator
Mhm.
and then I tried saving the details. It's giving me error that's saying that could not save details.
No, that is a problem we need to solve. I want to hear the feedback even from the others. Yeah, the others, I want to see whether you have succeeded in running it.
Someone is giving me the same error like Druville.
That the
Could
file
not
could
save.
not be saved.
Yeah.
Because mine is working. And I've just implemented it the way I've just explained to you. So any details around that error?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I'm also having one error.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the create table. Can I show it to you?
Yes.
Can you allow me to share?
You are co-host. You should be able to share. Should be able to share. You are co-host.
Okay. Can you see my screen, sir?
Starting. Hey, that code has an error. That code, the one that you're just putting there, what is the need for the way you have written it?
Yeah, that is where my error is.
So it's supposed to be the semicolon should come after
I remove
the
it.
semicolon. I'm saying the position of the semicolon
Yes.
is not at that point where you put it. The position of the semicolon should be, let me just show you, just after the text and then the quote. Maybe I should share the screen so that you can. Let me
Okay.
share the screen.
Yes, sir.
This is the way it should be.
Yes, thank you, sir.
And now you are able to save the details?
There's one more error.
Hmm.
If I show it to you,
At which point?
it's in it's one of the brackets. I'll check it out.
Yeah, you can share your screen if you're.
Okay, let me share it and show it to you. Yes. So it's over here.
So
Hello?
you see the bracket that you have, that one should not be there. That bracket, that closing one.
This one.
Not there at the top, the one there. That bracket, the way you put it is such that it assumes that that bracket, what it does is that it assumes that you have what? So this is on the portion of persist. No, that is correct. So it assumes that you have a bracket there and then dot show. Let me see.
I think this one should we remove, the one I'm looking at?
Is it?
This one here. I think there's a
Mhm.
problem with it.
Yeah, that bracket has a problem. Why are you opening it? There is no bracket to open there.
So I remove it.
Yeah, let me show you the screen. Let me share what the structure should be.
Okay.
Sha, are you able to run it?
So it gave me, it cannot be able to save. It's giving me the catch error.
So can you scroll down? For
अच्छा, okay.
So what I'm saying is that
so I'm still not able to solve it.
Mm.
Can you have a look at it one more time? If you just scroll up a bit, just let me just have a look at it. Scroll up. Not this. Is it this one? No, it's the one above. Yes, this one. Yes, here. Yeah. So yeah, just keep it there for 1 second, sir. Scroll down a bit, sir. So can you scroll down a bit?
So what I want you to do, guys, I want you to try that app and run it. And then you see this app is only storing name, date of birth, and email. I want you to add an option where it is also able to save the details of the DD. It is also able to save the details on on the what the user the status. So you modify the program to also save the status. Okay.
But it's
Mhm.
saying could not save details. So how can we solve that one?
What I'm saying is that on the could not save details unless you people have a different challenge, because I don't think that is a problem that I can see coming in. So is everybody in the room getting that error of cannot save the details?
I'm also getting the same error.
Okay, if we're getting the same error, let me try and see whether I can share mine so that you can see what I mean that should work. So I'm waiting for, because I'm wondering why yours is not working, but they have had a bit of a problem with my ID.
Sir,
Yeah,
one of the files is called details1 and the other one is called the details.
which one is that?
If the database name is details_1,
Yes, that is a database, but the details is a table.
details is a table.
Is a table, yeah. So check, if you check create table details, and the database name is details1.
Because sir, the error I'm getting is that when you go to return database.insert or throw line 40,
This one. Which one?
yes, just scroll down. Yeah, here in line 66,
Mhm.
there was no inverted commas in mine.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so it solved another error. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. So my ID has really refused to work, for sure.
So
I
there's
did
one
not-
more error. There's one more error.
Mhm.
Cannot resolve data input. Cannot resolve data input. If you go to data input.java, on line 113.
Specifically which one? Because 113 is this one.
Private protected void save details. A bit lower.
This one.
In 135, yes, a bit lower.
This one,
Now over here,
Mhm.
alert, yes, alert just a bit lower. You've written this persist one dot this.
It should be data input dot. It should be, this one should be data input dot. The name of the file here should be the name you have written. So yours should be data input dot this.
So it's data underscore input. Data underscore input, yeah, not just data input.
It depends with the way you have labeled it. What did you call your class? Is it data input?
My class.
The class. You have now two classes.
Okay.
So what?
Yeah, it's a capital D. That's the problem. It's a capital D and a capital I.
So you save it as.
So now I have no errors and I'm just building it.
Okay. So I think what I can do is that, because it looks like it will take a bit of time for me to be able to share. Actually, I have uninstalled my I've uninstalled my, what do you call it, Android Studio. And this is because it has given me enough stress today. So I think the best thing is that for me to allow you, I give you that question and then I solve that problem, because it looks like it's a big one. So I solve it and then we can continue from there. So I'll have tried to fix it. We need to do databases in how we save in SQLite, and you need to understand how it works. And then also you need to understand how still that works in PhoneGap. So by the next class, that should be solved. My argument is that let us have still an online class during the next time, so that I'm able to solve the problem. But if you still want, if you feel that, because my feeling is that at that time I'll have tried to see what my problem is with my machine, because today it was working earlier, now has a problem, so I'll solve it and then we can continue. I hope that is okay with people. So I see Shah is in. Moyaki Mogo in?
Yes.
And have you succeeded in running your app?
Yes.
You have been able to store the data?
No, it's not saving.
It's telling you there is an error?
Yeah, it's bringing the exception error.
Okay. So that one means like those are already 3 people with that error. So I'll see why. Wafa?
Yes, sir.
Have you succeeded in running it?
Okay, I'm getting multiple errors. Them right now. I'm with Labiba and Brandon in college.
Okay. Noor? Marim? Not here. Khan is here. Kasego? Kasego is not here. Felix? Not here. Ibrahim Hussein? Not here. Bilal?
Yes, sir.
And what have you done? What is your which stage are you in?
So I'm having an error like Druvils.
Okay. That one is an error that looks like people are getting a bit. I'll solve it. Yasin, not here. Aram, not here. Brandon Odhiambo.
Some here.
And where are you in terms of the app?
I'm still working on it.
At which stage are you in?
I'll show you the next class.
No, I'm not asking you about the next class. You get my question?
Can I just show you the next class?
Odhiambo, I'm asking you a specific question. Where are you? Pacha to the next one. Barara.
I'm here, sir.
Where are you in terms of that app?
I'm still working on it.
Specifically where? I don't want such a general answer. Dorcas. Dorcas is not there today. Rusira.
So I'm here.
Where are you in terms of the art app?
I told you I have an error like Drupal. It's telling me it cannot save. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So that is an error noted. Benson Kirobi. Kirobi, not here. Sheikh Mohammed, not here. So what I can say is that.
Hello, sir. Mine is saying
Yes.
details saved.
It says, yeah, then that is the way, that is what I expect. That's the way I expect it to say. It's supposed.
Yes, but where do I look for it?
Now, Ebugo, can you share your screen?
Yes.
Yes. So if it says detail saved, can you go to, let us go to your ID. Go to the Explorer, device file Explorer. Go to data. Data. The name of that app. Databases, yes. Now that is the details. You see details 1. That is where it is. And you can now open that. If you can open that using any of the SQLite database. We will do that so that you can save it. So yeah, that's correct. That's what I'm saying. So you can open it to check whether the data has been saved, right? So Musin, that is very okay, and that's what I wanted. So, and I can imagine that there is nothing that, is there something that you have done differently?
No, sir, I showed you my errors, you solved them and it worked.
So I think you guys, what I want you to do is go and try to solve those problems. Check the code that you are able to save details in the DB. And then I will be able to discuss that further during the class so that we can continue building it. But alongside that, I've also said for Musin, I want you to add the way to save those ones, everybody who will have succeeded. I want you to try and see whether you can be able to add the issue of what? The issue of saving the status as well, right? Try the status. Yeah, try that up. And then we will have our discussion with it during the next time. Is there any other question? Any question? So try that. And we'll continue from there. We will continue from there during the next class. Thank you so much. Have a good day.